Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our latest Q&A session as part of our Sustainable Business series. I'm Raj Kandola, Director of External Affairs at the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's session. Now, the Sustainable Business series endeavours to tackle climate change by supporting businesses in their transition to net zero, in essence highlighting best practice, providing insight and guidance to different organisations. And today, I'm delighted to say that we're joined by Dave Atkinson, Regional Director at Lloyds Bank. As we know, Lloyds Bank is one of the UK's leading retail and commercial banks, playing a key role in creating more sustainable and inclusive communities. So David, thanks very much for joining us today.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some thoughts. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
No, thanks very much. So to kick off with, can you tell us a bit more about your role at Lloyds and how your department fits in with the wider structure, given the size of the organisation itself?
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. It's a pleasure to do that. And so, good afternoon or good morning, whenever you listen to this. It's my name's Dave Atkinson. As Raj has said, I'm one of the regional directors for our SME business at Lloyds Banking Group. I have the privilege for the last 35 years to work within the group supporting SME businesses of all sizes. And we cover all sectors across the group, albeit my team in the Midlands, Wales and North West region, which is my responsibility, predominantly look after our trading businesses around those conurbations, with our real estate and healthcare specialists being looked after in dedicated teams. I've got around 70 colleagues looking after around 10,000 businesses across that conurbation. And our responsibility across the group is to listen to our clients, understand their ambitions, and do whatever we can across both our own products, our own finance, and also the connectivity that we've got across our managers on the ground, to be able to add value and help and support those businesses achieve what they set out to achieve. And I guess, as you've already alluded, Raj, we are one of the biggest financial institutions in the UK. We were founded here in Birmingham just over 260 years ago, founded by two industrialists. So we have manufacturing and industrial sort of heritage right at the heart of our business. And today we are a purpose-led organisation with an overarching ambition around helping Britain prosper. And we do that by creating a more sustainable and inclusive future for people and businesses, shaping finance as a force for good, adding value and helping our clients achieve their ambitions.
That's really great to hear, and we'll come on to talk about a bit more about the support that you offer your clients on that net zero journey. But first of all, be keen to find out a bit more about Lloyds Bank itself and the ambitions that Lloyds have in terms of achieving net zero within their own organisation. Could you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yeah, of course, and you're absolutely right. It's really important that as a business that supports other businesses, that we of course have our own house in order, as well as supporting the ambitions of others. So we've got a number of ambitions that we have set out in our broader ESG policy. First of all, we've set out a clear ambition to be net zero in our own operations by 2030. We have set out an ambition to reduce the carbon that gets generated through our supply chains by 50% by 2030. We are looking specifically at what we finance, and we again have set an ambition to reduce the amount of carbon that we finance by 50% by 2030 and to be 0% by 2050 or sooner. And we're already making some substantial inroads into that. And the final part of our sort of big group ambitions is to halve the carbon footprint of our emissions through the investments by 2030, delivered by another part of the group, Scottish Widows, where we're looking to invest in businesses that have got clear sustainability strategies that help us achieve that objective.
No, that's really great to hear. So just touching on a couple of those points there. So what changes have Lloyds themselves made to encourage sustainable business practices within the organisation? What are the results that you've seen as a result of those changes?
Okay, so in terms of the things that we are seeing within the business, I guess that breaks down into two parts. First of all, as I say, what we are doing as a business ourselves. So, we're looking to reduce energy consumption by around 50%. We're doing that through a number of initiatives. We're using the retrofitting capabilities of retrofitting our buildings with more energy efficient technology, using different heating systems, installing EV charging points, installing LED lighting. Our ambition, again, by 2030 is to reduce our group energy consumption by 50%. We're travelling far less, and where we are travelling, we're trying to do it in a more energy and carbon efficient way. We're looking to maintain our travel emissions by less than 50% compared to what they were in a pre-COVID world. Operational waste is taking far more attention in terms of recycling. And we did set out an ambition to reduce the amount of operational waste by 80% by 2025. And we're already recycling more than 97% of all waste that we see through our buildings. And we're also reducing water consumption, where, again, by 2025, we've set out an ambition to reduce the amount of water that we use by 40%, again, by using technology and investing in our buildings and in our infrastructure. And then I guess we're also seeing a number of changes amongst our colleagues that are interacting with businesses where this is a real hot topic and really, really important to their long-term success. And we're starting to see colleagues understand it much better. We've invested in some specific training through the Cambridge Institute for Sustainability Leadership, where we have trained all of our commercial colleagues to better understand what does this journey to net zero actually mean. What are the impacts on businesses? What are the challenges that businesses face into? And how can we support them think about how they may be able to make changes and adapt within their own businesses? That is a really important part to us. So we've invested heavily to help our colleagues understand. And I think that has created some real energy around the business in terms of awareness. And of course, just like any other business, our credentials are really important to the people that we now recruit. The tables have turned. It's no longer just the recruiter asking the questions. The future employees, the graduates, the interns that we take on are all asking us, what are your green credentials? What are you doing to reduce energy consumption? What are you doing to reduce carbon? And so, we're having to demonstrate that to attract the right talent into our business as well.
That's something that we hear quite a lot, actually, particularly from organizations of all sectors about the questions that they have from prospective employees about their approach to net zero and a long-term strategy there. And again, you've touched upon this element in your previous answer, but really be keen to find out more about how you go about and support those organizations that you're working with in their transition to net zero. And if you can, just tell us a bit more about how SMEs can take advantage of the support on offer, because one of the things that we're conscious of is that a number of SMEs have had a tough couple of years, given the onset of the pandemic, the energy crisis. Some of them are struggling with financial pressure, cash flow issues, but they are very keen, when we speak to them, keen to embark on this net zero journey. So if you could share some insight on that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. And one thing I can say, the 35 years of working with SMEs and the privilege to be able to do that I've had, is the one thing that you do learn is that SMEs are super resilient, super agile. And, heavens, I don't think enough people really understand when an SME faces a challenge, they haven't got a big department to go and refer to or hand the problem off to. That problem sits with that owner manager of that business. They are the marketeer, they are the strategist, they are the net zero expert, they are the problem solver, the debt collector, the innovator, and they just don't have the cash and the resources to invest, nor do they have the time, unlike some bigger businesses. So I think the good news is, just to put some context around this, is that without doubt, our research is showing us that the awareness amongst the importance of net zero and the opportunity amongst net zero is growing without a doubt. Around 96% of businesses now are telling us that they are aware of net zero. That is significantly improved over recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Around 80% of businesses this year are telling us it's more important to them than what it was last year. So the importance is growing, which is good.
Yeah.
70% or thereabouts have a plan now to hit net zero, which is even more encouraging because they're not just talking about the need to do it and acknowledging the importance of doing it. They're now thinking about how they're going to do it. And even more encouragingly, around 7% are already at net zero, which is again, an encouraging factor. I think I alluded earlier that SMEs face into some significant challenges, don't they? There's there can be a cost to doing this, and we shouldn't we shouldn't step aside from acknowledging that this doesn't always come for free. Yes, there's some behavioural changes that can be made that can make a big difference, but sometimes businesses do need to invest. They need to influence their supply chains, of course, because they will generate carbon through where they buy from and where they sell to and how they transport goods. There's a massive challenge out there around how do SMEs actually have the sophistication and the capability and the time to measure their carbon. And we're trying to take steps to help our clients with that. We've gone through a pilot recently where we have collaborated with one of the big universities to understand how can you calculate carbon emissions by looking at the transactions through a bank account. And pleasingly, the early tests are revealing that that's giving businesses a really good sort of benchmark. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that initiative develops. It's a challenge for some smaller businesses to justify the investment as well. Where do they measure the return on that investment? And then, of course, to do all of this, you need time and you need skills. And small businesses don't always have that in abundance either. The sorts of things that we are seeing businesses do is recycle. Think about how they can reduce energy. Think about how they can sort of source renewable energy. They are, without doubt, setting their own policies and ambitions within their businesses. They're talking to their supply chains. They're collaborating. They're reducing or changing the way they travel and transport. They're adopting EVs and and electric vehicles to reduce the costs. And of course, they're also doing an awful lot of work to engage their employees. The answers are invariably always in the room. So what can we do? Coming back to the real question and the nub of the point you asked me about here, what can we do and what are we doing to help benefits realise the benefits of taking steps to reduce carbon? So first of all, there's we've issued, and it's available completely free of charge online. I'm more than happy to send you the link if you wish to share it, of a sustainability audit guide or an action plan. And that encourages business to look at what transport is in their business, everything from how do you get to work and how do you transport your goods and things like that. What energy, how do you source your energy? How much energy are you using? How can you save on energy? What's going on in your supply chain? Thinking about the consumables in your business, the waste, the recycling and the water, and also skills and knowledge around your organisation. The audit guide takes businesses through a step-by-step process to traffic light themselves about where they are on that journey. And then dependent upon where the gaps are, it will signpost them to further help and support material so they can go through and create their own sustainability plan. We're trying to share best practice. We have, through our sustainability hub, we've started to launch a series of case studies where small businesses are already making these huge steps forward and making their own policies and making a difference. Because sometimes SMEs just need that encouragement or example to be able to bring alive their own ideas and to get their own thought processes going in their businesses. And so we've been sharing best practice ideas and some thought leadership. I've mentioned earlier, please feel free to come and talk to our managers. You don't have to be a client of Lloyds to have a conversation with our managers. We want to help Britain prosper. Now, if clients decide to transfer their banking to us throughout that journey, hey, that's great. We want to grow our business, but we also want to help businesses. So we've been delighted to have conversations with small businesses that want that help and support, and we can signpost them to the material and the other connections around industry that we've got to help. We've also got a specific tool which is completely free of charge, and again, businesses can access this themselves around assessing the energy within their businesses and what may they consider and what cost would it be? And more importantly, the tool will tell them what the impact on their emissions would be if they made certain investments in their businesses. And we know buildings are a substantial part of the carbon emissions of a business, and therefore we can help businesses reduce their carbon footprint and be quite tactical about where they invest and how they invest by giving them the right guidance and tools to assess that. And again, that is available free of charge. Of course, we've got Lex Auto Lease Business, which will be able to talk them through how adapting to electric vehicles can be achieved, and sort of providing relevant schemes to be able to sort of provide electric vehicles both to the commercial side of the business, but also personal vehicles. If you're a manufacturer, we've got the Manufacturing Technology Centre just outside of Birmingham, which we have just launched a completely free service to manufacturers, where the engineering experts at the MTC will come out and undertake a completely free line walk around the manufacturing business and help them understand how can they create a roadmap to net zero, and how do they what actions can they take to remove waste, reduce energy consumption, and therefore save money and save carbon emissions as a part of that process. And of course, where businesses need to invest and finance, we have also launched a Clean Growth Finance initiative where we actually lend money at cheaper rates without fees to support businesses invest where that is the right course of action. So all of that, I guess, is wrapped up in a complete sustainability service from our managers that have been trained through the Cambridge Institute of Sustainability Leadership to have better quality conversations with businesses. But of course, there's a whole wealth of material there to inspire, innovate, and also support businesses take themselves on their own journey if they prefer.
That's really great to hear, and I think it marries really well with the experience that you've got of working with SMEs for such a long time and understanding some of the challenges that they face and the support they'd need to overcome some of those challenges. So, David, I have to say that's been really, really helpful. Thank you very much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. As I said to people watching, we will share the various links that David has referred to. You will see that in the article, which is published in association with this Q&A. But all that's left for me to say is, David, thank you so much once again. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you this afternoon.
It's a privilege to be invited, and thank you so much for the opportunity to share a few thoughts. I hope it just inspires one or two to take some action, regardless of where they go to for that support. But I think the most important thing is just to start somewhere.
Yes, very much so. And like you said, talking about case studies and sharing insight, that is a big part of why we run the Sustainable Business Series. And now it's in its third year and going strength to strength. So yeah, really great to see big anchor institutions like Lloyds taking such a proactive part and stance in this very vital area. So what I'd also like to say is thank you to our sponsors, one of which, of course, is Lloyds Bank, but also University College Birmingham. Thanks to their support, all Sustainable Business Series events, webinars and content are free to access for the business community. And to our viewers and listeners, please don't forget to register for future Sustainable Business Series events and webinars on the Chamber website. Many thanks.